Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. Well, a few days ago, I showed you the first part of some books from my collection. It was, and they were all Radioactive Man from Bongo Comics, who's from the Simpsons universe. Actually, he's a comic book character in the Simpsons universe. Okay, and now we're going to take a look at some more of Radioactive Man and some other unusual Bongo stuff. Some Bongo. But before we do that, I want to remind you I've got my two books which are available: Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology, which is some humor with a little bit of adventure thrown in, and Bizarre Brain presents Heroes, which is more mainstream superhero-ish stuff with a little bit of horror in it thrown in for good measure. And they're both $7.99, available online on Amazon, Barnes & Noble online store, and some other online outlets. So, here we go. Radioactive Man. Now, when they published the Radioactive Man comics, it was an initial 6-issue miniseries, and then it's like twice yearly, I think. After that, and I have some of those. And when they did, they would print it as if it were a reprint of a classic book, starting in the Golden Age with its origin, and then popping around different times in comic book history, reflecting the kinds of stories and art styles prevalent at the time, and including imitating Jack Kirby, Neil Adams, and various others. Wayne Boring, Kurt Swan, sometimes doing covers based on some classic covers like this one here, and others also reproducing or in homage to some specific artists' page layout and panels, and including swiping whole figures and panels from some classic books. But these are not all Radioactive Men. There's some other Simpsons-related Bongo craziness. So here we go. Okay, this is Radioactive Man number 222, but that's not the real After Kane. This is a swipe from I think probably a Gil Kane cover, because it lists After Kane right there. Yeah, that's a Kane figure. And various creators, of course, Matt Groening also always has his name in the credits, even though he didn't have anything to do with the artwork and stuff. But here has Batten Lash and Bill Morrison, etc. And they also has sometimes Dan DeCarlo did a good deal of work for Bongo as well. And you know Dan DeCarlo from Archie. So this is that one. You can see some stuff here. Of course, is basically a parody of Superman with a bunch of other superheroes characters thrown in. It's a little bit of Batman, etc. And here we go one. The whole thing is a parody of Gold Key, and this issue is supposedly from 1963. It would be issue 106 from 1963. and of course Gold Key, and they broke off from Dell in the early 60s, and they even have a Dell and Gold Key gag in there in this story. And of course, Gold Key, both Dell and Gold Key were known for their fully painted covers. This is imitation of, and a lot of them. This is an imitation, basically of George Wilson painting, but it's done by Bill Morrison and Bat and Lash. And they even got to the point of where in the early 60s they had the painted cover without the masthead on the back cover for as a pinup. That's why a lot of those, you come across a lot of those old issues with the back cover cut off, and that is why. It's some beautiful stuff. And I wanted to point out something I haven't done in quite a while, which is talk about the layout, the composition and stuff. But here because it's part of the composition here. Of course, the title across the top, and the painting itself has basic X composition. See, but you read the name Radioactive Man, and the smoke from the volcano brings your eye down here into the volcano, and it goes right into this dinosaur's tail. Brings your eye down this way into Radioactive Man. But also, you see here, in this freaky dinosaur's hand is Gloria Grand, his Lois Lane, crying for help. And her figure brings your eye right into that dinosaur, down and around. And of course, it has the jungle in the background, which crosses there too. And then this mountainside, rocky mountainside, brings your eye down this way again, right into his Radioactive Man's figure. And the whole thing brings your eye down right into what's in his hand, a gold key. Yes, a gold key plays a part in the story. And they keep saying gold key, and they make gold key references, and even imitate the layout. See here, page spread, text pages and stuff, just like they would have had in Gold Key, with the information, educational stuff on inside cover, just like Gold Key used to have, and even to the page layout with the splash panel and stuff down here, and the panel borders being borderless, just like, because the whole thing is a parody of Dr. Solar, Man of the Atom, which he is in large part a parody of. And Dan DiCarlo is one of the artists in this, and this visual storytelling is and artistic style and all that is parody of what was going on in Gold Key at that time. Then we go here. This is in 2000s. I can't remember what year now. And this is an adaptation, of course, the official movie adaptation of Radioactive Man, which of course it's not, but it's a parody of the movie adaptation from the '89 Batman movie and the other movie adaptations that DC had done at the time, even down to the character looks different from the regular comics, because he looks more like he would in the movies, and even so he looks different, so he looks like the actor supposedly playing the part. And of course, House adds Star of Comics to have an article about him about Radioactive Man in the movies and in the comics and stuff like that, all of which is fake. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention here in this Gold Key parody was that they poke fun at the Gold Key stuff, and they even have one part in here where they blast and make fun of where is it? Here it is. Of Valiant Comics, who in the 90s picked up the Gold Key characters and then added their own. So these are parodies of the other Valiant original characters in the same universe as the Gold Key characters, primarily Radioactive Man and Magnus Robot Fighter. So And then we have here. This is another one that is a parody of. This is parody of DC comics in the early mid '70s, and of course it's Jack Kirby. Even has their parody of Jack Kirby's Fourth World, and copy his art and you see. And even down to Dark Side, the Fourth World. But of course, instead of Dark Side, he's Backside and stuff. And that's a lot of fun. And that is the last of the regular Radioactive Man issues I've got here. But then we go to, I've got this in Simpsons Comics #1. Of course, remember, Simpsons of course, were already going on and in parallel. But so this is in '93, I think it was. But the cover is a parody of Fantastic Four #1. So it's just your regular Simpsons type stories. But it's a flip book. Bart Simpson's Creepy Crawly Tales. That must have been before they started the Treehouse of Terror stuff. Irony! The collector. Oh. And so they were doing a lot of that stuff. So, because here is Edna, Queen of the Congo, #1. And of course, it's got Bart. And of course, Edna is Bart's teacher, his school teacher. But while it's Edna, Queen of the Congo #1, it's also Simpsons Comics #8. And I was just getting the unusual stuff at the time. And then we have Patty and Selma's Ill-Fated Romance Comics #1. It's Bongo romance. Holy jumping Moses! Selma's new lover is Marge's husband. Choke Homer Simpson. And of course, they are Bart and Lisa's aunts. But it's not just Ill-Fated Romance Comics #1. It's a flip book, and it is Simpsons #2. I should have put that in a different order. And the Sideshow Bob is back. And then we have see, it's just unusual stuff that I was picking up. Simpsons Super Spectacular. So it was basically Simpsons #10. 20 years of The Simpsons. It wasn't 10. Whatever. Anyway, and it's got Bartman, who is Bart Simpson, and Radioactive Man. So it's got a Bartman story and then a Radioactive Man story, and there's no flip on that one. So but this is Simpsons Comics and Stories, a parody of course, Disney's comics and stories. But this has Lo, There Shall Be a Bartman, and this has the origin and influence of Bartman, right down to the page which is very similar to some of the original Batman story from Detective Comics, and he is prompted by his Radioactive Man comics to don the cape and cowl, even down to the Bart signal. Then is Bartman #1, where he got his own title. Bartman #1. Ay caramba! Looks like the next cover enhancement is going to be my blood. But on the back is an ad for Radioactive Man #1. So this was the same time I came out about the same time as Radioactive Man #1, which I showed you last time, and I plan on doing a deep dive into that one, Radioactive Man #1. And it's just Bart Simpson playing at superhero. And then here's another Bartman #3 meets Radioactive Man. It's because he pops right out of the TV. And it has those crazy aliens blah, 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 that they show once in a while on The Simpsons. And that's a lot of fun, poking fun. And it's not just The Simpsons. Even if you're not a Simpsons fan, these are fun because they are in parody of and poking fun at his comics and in general, and the history of comic books and superheroes specifically. So, and it's all a lot of fun. And so that's all I've got to show you this time, share with you this time, is Radioactive Man, Bartman, and Edna, Queen of the Congo. All that silly stuff. That's some good storytelling. Some of this, both visually and writing wise. The very creative, inventive writing being done, and sometimes the writing was better than the comics that they were parodying. So, thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. Do leave your comments down below. And I want to put that over. So, put your comments down below. Tell me what you thought of these, or if there's any of these that you thought were interesting. Have you read any of these? Any of that? Let me know. And remember, comics. Woo! Are art.